Welcome back. UT Parking, does Paul want us to start watching on the triple option channel? Eventually, yes. But we're doing both. I have both. Like, here's what you can do just to help me out. Open up 2 windows in your browser and just run them both at the same time and mute one.
You can do that?
Yeah.
That's technology. That's technology at its finest.
Because I'm doing that right now. I'm on either one. I'm on either one. Back and forth, back and forth. This is me clicking. I'm not even looking. Back and forth.
We are people of a 2-screen experience nowadays. Not one. It's a 2-screen experience.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, I've talked at length about my love of the YouTube TV and the 4 boxes that you can watch football games on.
Yep.
My wife, like, God bless her, she wants to get one of those like rolling monitors that you can use as an iPad, like the LG things, and you can pull up on the screen. We have an Alexa in the kitchen, like an Echo Show, and then we could have this that could roll in and put some other stuff on. Like, she's bought in. Like, these are things that, you know,
it's one of those.
I never thought possible.
And I have to imagine it's like once you have it, you think to yourself, how did we live? How did we possibly manage and live before this? It's just, how did we do this? This life is so much better now. So much better.
I love your shirt, by the way, Pierre.
Yeah, no, it's a throwback.
What website did you get it from?
Well, I didn't get it working for the fine people of Fox. I get benefits because Fox owned the TV broadcast to the former USFL before the merge happened. So
good deal. Well, props to you on that. But it's great. I love to read. When you'll find this out, Pierre, your reading will drop a little bit when you get married, because the minute you open a book is when your wife wants to have a really in-depth conversation about something that's been bothering her.
Yeah.
So, or you're on a plane to Hawaii and you've been flying for 30 minutes and you're like, all right, well, we haven't really said anything to each other. She looks about to nod off. So I'll start my book now. And then I'll read like 4 pages and she'll say something to me. I'm like, okay, yeah. Oh, yeah. All right. You're not talking to me like, we're on this plane for 8 hours. I can finish this book in 3 if you just leave me alone.
The hard part too is like you do the like you kind of have like you wait for the pause and then you kind of do the little bit of the side turn. Is like, is this conversation over? Can I safely go back to this now? I'm not sure. Yeah. But I haven't experienced that part yet. The one thing I have experienced since, not really since we got engaged, but living together, every time I sit down, without clockwork. And I'm doing stuff before I sit down. Clockwork. The moment I sit down on the couch, hey, can you help me open something? Hey, can you cut?
Welcome aboard, my friend.
Just the moment.
Garrett?
The moment. I've just been parading around the apartment for the previous 30 minutes doing stuff. I'm up. I can do stuff. Just the moment I sit down, hey, can you get me some water?
Here's what I figured out. When and this is not true with like a non-permanent relationship, right? So living together, engaged, married. This is where this starts.
Yeah.
Here's what I found out. My wife is by no means, she's the least lazy person in the world. She hates laziness. But women, like, for the most part, I think, are go, 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 go. Garrett, stop me if I
think it just depends. My wife's not so much go, go, go.
Anyway, but she's go, go, go. But once she's made the decision that she is sitting down, the time is shifted where I've got to get up and do it, because this is my sitting down time. I'm sitting here. I'm comfortable. I've done all these things today. I'm really happy to be off my feet. The least you could do is get me a water, open a jar, tell me if we're out of crackers or not.
Yeah.
So early on, it would happen. I'd be like, what is happening here? Like, I just sat down.
Yeah.
But it took me longer than I care to admit. But about 6 months in, I realized, like, oh, no. Now this is how it is. And it's taken me till now to just go, yep.
I'm having a very similar experience because my fiance is like your wife. Like I said, this is a woman who just does not. She can't sit still. She sits on the couch in the middle of the afternoon. She sits on the couch for more than 5 minutes. You would think she's going to start an earthquake with how jittery she's going to get. I have to be doing something. I got to go out. I got to do this. I got to do that. But yes, you're right. The moment she sits down, it's done. It's a done deal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, Pierre, let's get into what I wanted to talk about. So Carter Smith is a 4-star quarterback from Fort Myers, Florida, Bishop Monroe High School. Obviously, he'll be the second most famous person to graduate from there.
Of course. Yes.
I don't want him to have goals where I would like to be more famous than Paul Catalina.
It's a high bar.
But let's just say second. And so I'm on Twitter this morning and I see that he's decommitted from Michigan. And I don't follow my high school all that much. It's hard to do it from over here. Yeah. But I see it, social media, friends and things. A very dear friend of mine is the athletic director. And so, I follow it and see things. So I know what's going on. But ultimately, I don't follow that close. But when Carter Smith committed to Michigan, I was like, oh, hey, I want to follow this kid's career because, again, we're a small Catholic high school, very small Catholic high school. We don't get kids going to Michigan to play football. We've had kids go to big schools. My friend, I get to actually see him next weekend. He went to Notre Dame to play baseball. That was a huge one, right?
Leatu Latu went to my high school. Now first-round pick of the Colts. I mean, that's a similar situation, Catholic. I totally know what you mean. Yeah.
So, we're not Duncanville or LaSalle or St. Thomas Aquinas, these massive high schools that just churn out. When you go to Duncanville High School, they're like, oh, hey, would you like to walk down the hall of the 700 NFL players that we've produced? Here's a freshman who could probably play for the Ravens right now. We're not even picking a bad team he can play for. He can play for the freaking Ravens because he runs a 4.1. Yeah. He's 6'3", 225, runs a 4.1. He'll play whatever position you tell him to do, he only thinks about football and steak, those kind of things. So I followed him. I'm very curious about it. And so I see this morning he's decommitted from Michigan. And I thought, well, that's odd. And so then I start seeing that Michigan is making a push for Bryce Underwood. Then it occurs to me that, I don't know, 2 months ago, Garrett? Right at the beginning of the season.
Man, it was like a month and a half ago,
About a month and a half ago, after Michigan had lost a couple games because – look, the only reason that Michigan's losing games is they have no quarterback. Yeah. Everything else is fine. Yeah. Everything else is totally fine. And nobody in that football team thought, do these guys all suck at this position? We'll be fine. We're Michigan. No. This is where you go out and, make okay, let me ask you this. If you were Cam Ward, although, the offense at Michigan, would you rather go to Miami or Michigan, who just won the national title? But they didn't get in that business. And maybe he's not a fit offensively because he's more of a spread guy. But, you let Ohio State get Will Howard. Look, Will Howard would be amazing in the Michigan offense. Amazing in that offense. Yeah. So here they are reeling about a quarterback. Well, Barstool CEO Dave Portnoy is a Michigan man, and he will tell you that every chance he gets.
Yep.
Very loudly in the Portnoy way.
I'm aware of that, yeah.
So he's always talking about, I'm a Michigan man, I'm a Michigan man, I'm a Michigan man, right? So he did an interview about a month and a half ago where he said, look, I've talked to Sharon Moore. I've told him he's got $1 million, right? He said he personally would pay $1 million for the quarterback, which, again, you give me Portnoy money, Florida State, just make sure, here's what Florida State needs to do. I'll just tell you right now. Florida State needs to make sure that I get Portnoy money. If you can point me in the direction that I'm the guy with the Portnoy money, I promise you, I know this stuff better than most. I could do some things. I don't mean to be braggadocious, but I really do think that I could save them from themselves in a lot of regards. And I've seen a lot. Bad coaching decisions. Believe me, the basketball team would not stink anymore, and we're winning a College World Series, or I will die and be buried at Dick Howser Field. And that, like, until they win one, my like mummified hand will be up out of the ground in center field.
forget Allstate. You're in good hands with Catalina. I tell you, you give them all the money, you're in good hands.
Exactly.
I promise you.
So, but Dave Portnoy, and so Dave Portnoy said he told me the guy. Well, obviously, I mean, kind of like this now you see it. There's too many dots to connect, but what Sherrod Moore did was kind of illegal and telling, but it's every coach does it. I mean, like, I think it's dumb that they can't talk about recruits in at least a casual fashion. You know, it's like if they all talked about it, it'd be fine. Like, yes, we'd like to get them, but I understand why. Like, it's really complicated and difficult to police. As it is, with as many rules as there aren't now, but like it's difficult. So Bryce Underwood has been committed to LSU for several months.
299 days exactly.
Yeah, okay. See, Garrett knows as an LSU fan. 299 days. And so that was the guy. And look, he's the number one. Like, he or Deuce Knight, would you say those are the 1-2 quarterbacks?
They're up there.
Deuce Knight was committed to Notre Dame. Now he's committed to Auburn. I bet you he probably goes to Auburn because it's kind of late in the game now. I wouldn't be surprised, though, to see somebody swoop in and be like, really? Auburn? Like, you know, you really? I mean, like, you know, especially if, like, say, Cam Coleman is like, you know, this was bad. I didn't have any fun.
I didn't like this,
Yeah. I'll go back to A&M where I was originally committed because that looks fun. They've got Marcel Reed. Look, I'll tell you, if that happens, if Cam Coleman from Auburn, where he was originally committed to A&M, goes back to A&M, I will not be surprised. I will not be surprised.
That could be interesting.
Yeah, I would not be shocked at all.
Yeah.
But so Bryce Underwood is now the target. So let's just do some quick investigating here. I wish I had a board with yarn. I assume that the guy that Barstool is offering $1 million to is Bryce Underwood.
Correct. Absolutely is.
We can't definitively prove that right now because that's not how these things work, but it appears that that's going to happen. Now, does LSU have a Barstool? No. They don't. And they also had a coach that very publicly not even a year ago in spring football said, look, we are comfortable with our NIL where it is. We're always going to try to get more. And I really like that he said this, but he said, look, I'm not going to get in the business of getting in a bidding war because it just doesn't end well. So my assumption, and I think that's a good plan, but it's really going to suck for LSU because they've got a lot riding on Bryce Underwood coming there, is that he's not going to, like, he might make a counter offer and say, do you really want to come here? Here's what we can do. But my assumption is that Bryce Underwood will probably go to Michigan if that's all it's about for him. Now, and LSU is going to be back to the drawing board with Underwood. So your opinion on all this, and that this is modern college football at its absolute peak.
Well, I mean, first and foremost, my thought is, and I understand what you mean with Sherrod Moore. It's like, I agree with you completely. It's like everybody knows what's going on. It's already out there in the public. Why are you going to hold these coaches to this type of standard that really is in somewhat way unfair to them? But I guess I get it to some degree. But in my opinion, Dave Portnoy, like you said, from what I said previously, I'm not an overt Barstool Sports consumer, but I know the players in this arena. I certainly know who they are and what they do, and I see some of the stuff that they do. And I'm well aware that he's absolutely a Michigan man. And if this is where we are right now, you know, for a media company, you know, because Barstool Sports is a media company, for them to put up $1 million to get the quarterback of their choosing, should I feel upset about it? I don't feel like I should, because I fully am aware and understanding that this is the world that we're living in now. And if this is the guy you want to go after, and if somebody else doesn't want to match the offer, that sounds like the free market to me. Why should I be up in arms about it? I'm trying to find a reason why I should be.
I'm not, but like, I don't think it's all like you're only outraged because like Garrett's not mad because this is because of the idea of this. He's mad because it's happening directly to him as a fan.
This is personal.
That part with Garrett, that part I'm well aware, and I feel his pain in that regard. If it comes to fruition, that's going to be the situation. But I mean, it's kind of like, hey, you got outbid. This is just, you're at the auction. Elaine Bennett is at the auction trying to get the JFK clubs.
Yeah.
She's got to outdo, her arch nemesis in the freaking, what's her name? What's her name, Paul?
Sue Ellen Mishke.
So she's got to outdo Sue Ellen Mishke.
The O. Henry candy bar heiress.
That's right. Hell or high water, you got to get those clubs. So it's kind of like, well, I don't know what to tell you. You probably need 1.1. If you want to keep them, you need 1.1.
Yeah. So I think that this is how it is, but the schools with the big time sugar daddies are going to get this. I would warn Dave Portnoy though, be careful, because I know he has $1 million to throw around. I mean, he probably bets $1 million a year. He's not worried about going broke. Like he's not. Right. There's things I really like about him. There's things, again, that I don't agree with. There's something about his personality that might rub you the wrong way. But I do actually respect him quite a bit. Like I really do. I think what he's done is amazing. Yeah. Again, maybe some personal views that we would agree with, but I actually do think I would sit down and have a great talk with him.
From a business perspective, there's a lot. I don't know how you don't respect that part at bare minimum.
He's a big time supporter of small businesses. He very candidly says, look, part of the reason that I bought it back is because there's guys at this company who I really like, who I think are good dudes, but they're idiots, and they wouldn't get a job sacking groceries if I didn't have them here. This is the only function they can serve in life, and I don't want to get rid of them. And I really admire that. I thought, yes, that you're sticking up for you stick up for your guys. And look, he could actually, because of the Call Her Daddy podcast, which he owns part of, but is part of that whole thing, he could never do another thing a day in his life and be fine. Just on that one. Right. Just on that one, it's so huge. So, he's got this money. I would tell him, be careful, because the minute you do it for Bryce Underwood, they'd be like, you know what Bryce Underwood really needs is 2 wide receivers, a running back, and a center that meshes with his personality.
Great point.
And then you're like, all right, well, that's not going to cost $1 million per, for that one guy, but that might be another $1 million you spread out amongst those guys.
Yeah, right.
So then, look, ask T. Boone Pickens or anybody that was at Texas, they're going to keep coming to the well. So just know that this is going to be, you can't just be like, look, I got you Bryce Underwood, we're good now. No, man.
That's a great point that you make, because once you set that standard, once you set that bar at that place, you're going to people are going to come to you and be like, well, you did it for this guy. Why wouldn't don't you want Michigan? Don't you want us to be the number 1 team in the country week in and week out? This is what it's going to take. The more money you spend, the more money you're going to have to spend later to maintain the status of where you want this program to be. So, and what does that look like? Whether it's more players, whether it's, gym equipment, whether it's, whatever the standard is to get these athletes at your university, the cost of doing business is only going to go up higher and higher the more you set the precedent as you go along. So, I think you bring up an excellent point. I think it's an excellent point.
Yeah, absolutely. So, God, our chat room is so wild. They don't know what talking about what we're talking about, but I do find it. This is the new world, and so this is just a message to Florida State. I don't have Portnoy money, but if you want someone who will come to the rescue like that, I could be that guy. I just need you guys to invest in me, point me in the right direction where we can get some, Fortune 100 VCs involved in this and pushing, our agenda out to the world. That's all I'm saying.
You could be a very wealthy middleman at this point, for Florida State. You really could. You really could.
Yeah. Look, here's what I'll tell you. Here's the good news. Here's the good news for another university. I'll tell you, Kansas basketball, if you want to get involved in this, I would have a fiduciary responsibility so like my wife cares about Kansas basketball more than I care about Florida State anything.
Which is saying something. Which is saying something. Yeah.
Yes. She cares about that a lot. So the only way that I can get away with that is to make sure, one, that we find some medical technology that Bill Self doesn't age and never retires and keeps going for 100 years, or at least outlives Amanda. You know, and then I can do this. So Florida State and Kansas, I'm presenting you with a unique joint opportunity here. That if you can, you know, what did Cat Williams say about Kevin Hart? That like Kevin Hart was like the industry like brought him up, like he was a plant, like they like decided we're gonna make Kevin Hart a big deal.
Yeah.
I don't have any problem with that. I'll do that.
Sure.
I will do that, but I need your help, and then I will pay it. I will pay it forward, man. I will absolutely pay it forward to you.
You don't think that me and you would want to be living that Kevin Hart lifestyle right now? Are you kidding me?
Invest in that. Invest in this.
Yeah. I would actually slice 7 inches off my height just to live that Kevin Hart lifestyle that he's living right now. 100%. I really would.
Yeah.
Why not?
He's got an underwear company. He's got like, what is he not? He's got like a fast food chain.
Yeah.
What does he not have?
I don't know. He's in commercials with LeBron. I don't know what he's doing, but at the same time too, he's kind of a guy too, where I'm like, who doesn't like Kevin Hart? He's
Cat Williams.
Cat Williams. Yeah. And that's less than if you don't like Kevin Hart, I'm starting to think there's something that might be wrong with you. Like, what's not to like? He's a great dude.
Yeah.